Welcome back, guys. It is the final prompt in the Find the Fun in Feb challenge. And yes, I'm catching up. This video won't go out until the beginning of March, but that's okay. Don't panic. Right, pocket or tuck spot is our prompt today. But before I create my little pocket or tuck spot, I want to create a background to stick in my journal. Just feeling my brayer here, that's all a bit sticky and yucky. Let's find the other one. Here we go. Right, I'm going to try a technique today to create a background for my pocket to go on. This technique I saw Kerry the crafter, using to create some backgrounds for tags a little while ago. I will link his video below, and do go and check out Kerry's channel. He does some amazing things. Right, I have this piece of paper, and I have folded this piece of paper. It's an A4 or letter size. I've folded it because that is just slightly bigger than my page in my journal. And I'm going to be decorating this as the background. Gosh, I need to get my head in gear today, don't I? All right, this page is going to be next to the last one I did, which was a prompt of in the forest. Has lots of greens, browns, bit of yellow and orange in. So I want this to not be clashing with it. It doesn't need to match, but I'd like it to, what's the word I'm looking for? Complement. There we go. Complement that page. Now, gosh, that colour's a little bit brighter than I thought. Never mind. So what Kerry did, used 2 gel plates, little one to put the paint on like that, and the bigger one to roll it out, and I've already got too much paint on there. But anyway, what he did was then place his paper on here and just pick up, and you can see already that's starting to create quite an interesting background. Now, obviously I've got too much paint on here, so I'm going to grab another sheet of paper, and I'll show you this. If you are in New Zealand or Australia, this is a make that you buy in Kmart. These pads are $3 or $4 each. They're 160 GSM paper, and I have found this paper is brilliant for gel printing. It's cheap, you know, it's affordable, and easily available if you're in one of those countries. I don't know whether Kmart is in other countries overseas. Let me know. All right, so I'm just going to be creating a couple of backgrounds because I don't want to waste the paint. And clearly I have an inability to put a little bit on my gel plate at a time. But what I could do is do that bit as well and use it for something else. All right, I'm going to clean that. I'll leave it, actually. I'll leave it so it happens. I can't remember whether Kerry cleaned his plate in between different colours or not. I'll have to have a look. Oh, goodness me, far too much. Do you know what? I'm going to just put some of that into something. Right, I've put some of that into a jar just because I don't need that much. Oh, goodness me. As you can see, all I'm doing by using this technique of Kerry's is building up layers. Just take those off. They're little bits of the die cut that I was using last time, and they've obviously been on my desk and stuck to my brayer. see we're getting the interesting build up of layers there, and the colours are starting to you know, merge, so that you've got, you know, the third colour coming in there as well. Now, as I say, I'm choosing not to clean my plate in between this time. I'll go back and have a look at the video, and I'll put a note on the screen to tell you whether Kerry cleaned his plate in between colours or not. I guess it depends partly on the effect you're wanting to achieve. You know, if you're wanting, if you're not using, like here, I'm building up very similar colours, you know, the yellow, blue, green. If you're wanting different colours, I guess you might, and wanting to keep those quite separate, you might want to clean that plate in between. I probably will clean it off after this. Oops, goodness me, I'm sliding today. I need a non-stick mat under here when I'm doing this. Yeah, it's very warm today, and I think that paint is actually drying so quickly it's not going to pick up. That's drying. I spread that so thinly it's drying before I've had time. Now I do want a little bit more of that blue to come through, so I'm going to put a bit of that directly onto my big plate, and I'm going to add in a little bit of this one as well. Now the ones I have been using are just Reeves acrylics. This is a craft paint. Now these tend to be quite runny, even when you've shaken them. So I'm just, as I say, because it's drying so fast today, and I want a little bit more of that blue, I'm just going to pop that straight onto my plate there, and we'll see what happens. Now, I'm not going to go right the way over with this one. I'm just going to do small areas. Okay, and then this one I am going to put on and see what we pick up. I guess the beauty of doing two like this is that I can choose which one comes out best for the background. See, at the moment I'm actually liking this one better. Pick up a little bit more blue along there. Alright, I'm just having a look. I do prefer this one right now. And I'm not sure that I want too much more on there, actually. As I say, it's just a background. I'm thinking just a little bit of a slightly darker green, but I don't want too much. I'm just having a look through my paints over here. I've got a couple more of these craft paints. This one's actually might be quite interesting, just to add some little bits, not a lot. This is a green craft paint, and it's a metallic, and it has a real gold, you can see there, a real gold sort of sheen. Now that's still a bit blobby, I don't mind that, and I'm just going to pick that up on here and see what happens. Now if I turn that in the light, you might be able to just see the gold in there. I'm actually going to add just a little bit more. Oh, that's a different one. Okay, that's right, we'll go with that. This is it's also a craft paint. This is a Kelly green, so it's a darker green. Again, don't want this all over. Sorry, Kerry, if I'm changing up your technique a bit here. We have to work to the conditions, don't we? I rather quite like that, actually. And because it is a background, I don't think I'm going to add too much more. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to, that'll work. No. I'm going to come back in with this. Oh, I've got some of that, haven't I? There you go. That's one I got too much out of. I'm just going to get a bit of that on my roller and just touch in the edges there. I'm tempted. I'm just going to bring in just a little bit. Gone back to this plate, I know. I'm just going to bring a little bit of that yellow back into the middle. There, I think that's just lifted those colours a little bit. I don't want to do too much more because I don't want it all to just merge into a muddy mess. All right, I'm going to stop before I get too much on it. I think that's quite, as it is, that's quite cool. I've got some layers, I've got some different colours coming through. I'm just going to finish this one off whilst I've got my plates out. And then we'll come back and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So this is a piece I've chosen to use as my background. When I looked at the piece of paper I want to use to make my pocket, I realised I needed to bring in just a little bit of a darker, so this is a darker olive green. So that's all dry. I've got this stencil and I've got some white paint on my gel plate now. And I've just got my trusty sponge. And I am going to just stencil some little white leaves through onto this background. Okay, this is the page I'm using, and you'll see what I mean about the A4 piece of paper not being quite wide enough. Now that's okay, it doesn't matter. I have a couple of different ideas for the sides. I'm thinking it might be some washi tape. I'm thinking also it could be something like this. We'll see. That will be sort of my last bit to do. Now I think I like that as opposed to that. So I'm going to Mod Podge my page and get that background stuck down. Alright, so that's all nicely dry, and I've cut off that little piece from the bottom there, as you can see. I've got a corner coming up just there. Let's just, you know what, I will deal with that in a minute when I put the edges in. So I'll hang on to that piece of paper for now. I'm thinking actually that might make quite a nice card to go into one of our pockets. All right, let's see. So put that to the side for a moment. Now this is a piece of A4. It's kind of a card actually. I don't know the way it came in a pack I bought in a charity shop. I would say scrapbooking paper. Anyway, A4 piece or letter size. And I've cut that in half. Now I'm going to make 2 pockets. And you know what? This is the simplest way to make pockets, and I love it. If you take, and you can do this any size, you just need a rectangle, and you're going to fold it into thirds. Now, if you're pedantic, you can measure it. I shouldn't say pedantic, should I? That has some negative connotations. If you like to be precise, you can measure it. I'm not bothered. And as you will see, if you look very closely there, I do have a little bit of a gap there. That doesn't bother me for this project. All right, you've got it into 3, open it up, and you're going to fold the top 2 corners down to the fold line. This card is actually quite thick, but you can do this with any weight of card. You can do it with double-sided paper. So you're just going down to that fold line. And what we're going to do is bring that one across there, that one across there, and lo and behold, here you have your pocket. One here, one here. Now, as you will see, that's not sitting very flat, and I think that's partly because I haven't folded that quite evenly, but that doesn't matter, because what I like to do now is to unfold those, and I'll turn them over so that we can see. I'll show you. Here's our fold line. Here's our fold line. What I'm going to do is to cut, what have I got there, 2 or 3 mils from that fold line. I want to leave just enough to turn over and glue down. Now, I haven't actually folded that very well, so I'm just going to nip off with my smaller scissors. I'm going to nip off that top corner, and that's going to enable that to fold down much better. So there we go. So we're going to fold those down like that. Now these you can then turn around and pop on here. You can have a couple on there if you want to, and that's giving you extra pockets or tuck spots again. Now I'm going to put something along there, because this is quite, obviously those patterns are quite, they're clashing. Is that the right word? So I'm going to put something along the edge here so that it looks slightly different. Because how you decorate this from here on in is entirely up to you. Now the other thing I do just want to show you is, because this is a white background, we see this bit here, don't we? And I'm just going to put a little dot just there. That's where the bottom of that V comes. I'm going to grab my ink pad and a blending brush, and I'm just going to put some green on there, and that's just, and I'm not too worried about it blending perfectly or anything. I just want to take off the white, the starkness of that white. In fact, I don't consider myself very skilled at blending, to be honest with you. But there we go, we've taken that white off. While I've got my ink pad here, I'm going to ink all of those edges. Now the wonderful thing about these pockets is that you can make them, you can decorate them as elaborately or not as you want. It really is up to you. They can go with any theme. You know, I've done these and covered them in lace for a like a Victorian theme. And what I could do with this one is, if I wanted to fold it this way, I could put something down here. You know, you could put a bit of lace or something, whatever was appropriate down there if you wanted to fold it that way. And that's a really good tip. If your edge doesn't quite meet, if you have folded it slightly wrong, or slightly, you know, not, it's not wrong, but not exactly into thirds, put a strip of something down here. Could be decorative paper, could be a bit of lace, could be a punched edge, it could be anything. All right, I'm going to fold this one this way. I'm going to ink this, now complicate things. I'm going to ink the edge of this. And I'm going, I'm just looking in my drawer here for a piece of contrasting. That's a little bit bright, isn't it? Do you know what? I've just found this. And I think that it's just about, if I'm careful, I can just get that to be long enough. I stick it there. Right, I'm just going to hold that there for a moment. Now, have I got room? We'll sort that out in a minute. I'm going to cut across there. And that's going to form an edge. Now, is that long enough? Yes. So what I'm going to do is just go across there like that. I know that's not very even, that doesn't matter at the moment. Just trying to see whether I've messed that up or whether that is actually going to work. It's not quite long enough, is it? Bother. Oh, you know, I think it'll look all right. I think it'll look all right. I don't want to waste the green now I've cut it. And that's going to just fit on there nicely. You're going to be able to see that that's another pocket. Now, of course, you could do the same on these edges if you wanted the shiny green on those edges as well. You could just do this little bit if you wanted to highlight that. And show you what would that look like. You know, you could just put a little bit like that, or a little bit behind there. I might do this one. Let's have a look. Alright, so I've added a little bit of green along there as well, and at the same time I have glued that flap down. Now, I'm going to glue this, so let's put the rest of our pocket together. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue along there. So that's the edge of our top pocket. And then we put glue on here and on here, and we go in and in. Yeah, and we've got one pocket here, one pocket here, and then we're going to add our other one on the front. Now, I haven't glued this bit down here. You can do or not, depending what you want, because, you know, that can be a tuck spot for a bigger, you know, right, this is sliding in, and it would do if this was glued down. But if you've got a bigger, something bigger that you want to put in there, don't glue that piece down. I am just going to put a little bit of glue underneath that one, and I should have done that before I stuck it together. Do you know, I'm a little bit scatty. I feel a bit scatty today. Don't know what's going on. Right. And of course I'm going to glue my pocket onto the front. I'll do the other one of these in a minute because I'm going to have 2 pockets on the page. I'll stop talking and do the other one and just video it so that you can see, and hopefully, if I'm not trying to rub it at the same time, it might be a little bit better. But there we go, you get the idea. There's our first pocket. Let's do the other one without talking, and we'll see how we go. Now, whilst those pockets have been drying, that little piece that I cut off the bottom, I've just cut in half and I've backed onto 2 pieces of scrap white card. Now, I'm just going to... I mean, you can obviously fill these pockets in whatever way you want. But rather than, you know, not use that little bit I've cut off, I'm going to turn this into a couple of little tags or cards to go in there. So, as I say, I've cut it in half, I've backed it onto a scrap of card. As you can see, I've now rounded the corners. And of course, I'm going to give it the obligatory ink around the edges. Corner hasn't gone very well, has it? Let's see if we can... That's better. Right, there we go. Now this one, as you can see, has got quite a nice piece of that stencil on already. I could pull the stencil back out and use it on this one, but I have a couple of leaves here left from the project, the last prompt that we did, which was in the forest, and I think I might use those two. That's kind of the wrong colours. I'm going to use those two. I'm just going to ink the edges of them if I can. This one in particular is very fragile. It's cut from very old newspaper, so I'm being a little bit careful here. Actually, that's quite a nice effect. That's just giving the edges a little bit of a darker colour. There we go. So again, you know, it's all about using up what you've got. The glue stick I have at the moment is rubbish. Oh, this one's not too bad. Right, again, I'm going to be very, very careful with this one. This newspaper is so delicate. I think it's a New Zealand Farmers Weekly from 1945 or something. Really, really old soap, but it's got a beautiful colour, as you can see. just going to mimic that there. Now, I mean, you can add as much or as, you know, little as you like to your journaling cards. For the purpose of today, that's all I'm going to do with those. And I'm going to spend the time just showing you what I'm going to do with the pockets. So, right. How you attach these pockets is entirely up to you. And I say that because you can glue the whole lot down, or you can just glue two sides. And if you just glue the two sides, you also have a tuck spot. You can glue three sides and you have another little pocket. Oops, needs a bit more glue. You have another little pocket at the top here behind it. So really versatile little pocket. I'm going to put a bit of glue on this before I remember. Do you know my glue stick? I bought a different make. I couldn't get the make I normally use. And it really isn't the best. Right. Up on the windowsill to dry. The sun's just starting to come in the window this afternoon. Alright, so as I say, you can glue them down in whatever way you want. I'm going to glue both of these down completely, I think, for this page. Yeah. And as you will see, what I did when I folded that second one was folded it the other way, so the pieces are facing each other. And I've just done two different versions just to show you, you know, the different ways of using. It is a shame because the back's beautiful, but anyway. The other thing you can do with these that I have done before is to create a hinge, so that, let me stick this one down and then I'll show you. I'm going to go about there, I think. Let's put that on it for a minute. If you created a hinge down here, then you can have the pocket flapping up, you can have additional journal space, or even use another one of the little corners to create an additional tuck spot on the back. But as I say, today I'm going to glue both of them down completely because my journal is getting quite chunky already. And although this is the last prompt, because I've been a bit pushed for time this last couple of weeks, I combined a couple of the prompts, and so I started with the right number of pages in my journal, but of course because I combined a couple of prompts, I do have 2 pages left. And I will be doing those actually over the next couple of weeks. I will finish them off because I want this journal to be finished and looking nice. Okay. My next job, I'm going to find something to go down these 2 sides whilst these pockets dry. Oh, I'm just going to, oh, sorry, I'm going to pull these off again. I was so busy talking. Oh no, I wonder if I can do it. Oh, that is taking the page up. Right, what I had planned, I am going to pull those off, and I know that's awful, and I will be covering those up again. They are going to go back down in the same place. What I wanted to do was to put this in the middle like that. Right. Oh dear, oh dear. I think Candy is participating in another sort of hashtag challenge as well at the moment, which is about I think it's called Find My Floor. I'll check that out and put it up on the screen when I edit this video. And that prompt, that challenge is about using all the things you have. And that's certainly something I decided at the beginning of the year that was something I needed to do this year. And oh, I don't believe it. Look, I've got this all planned out, and I'm too busy or rushing, or I don't know what I'm doing today. Right, before those dry. Gosh. Anyway, that's what I've been doing, and I've just been through one of my drawers to see what I've got to make this page a bit more interesting, and I found my bag of flowers. Right, let's hold those down for a minute. Okay. Goodness me. There you go. If you weren't watching, you'd never know. And honestly, I've been through my drawers, and I've just found a whole load of bits and pieces. And look, they all just go together nicely and finish off this page. Right. Now the other things I'd found, I've got this bag of flowers, which is where I got this one from. And there's a few more green and orangey yellows in here. I'm going to pull them out and see what else I can do. So yes, once I've finished this journal, I'm going to have a look at this challenge that Candy's doing and participating in, and find out a bit more about it, because I think, you know, I get the sense that it is about finishing up what you have and creating with what you've got, and that's certainly something I need to do. Okay, that's all the ones that has put all these back that aren't the right colour really. I'm just going to layer these up and see what happens, just to add a bit of interest to the page, something a bit extra. You could put these on, actually on the pockets as well. Those little ones might look quite cute, or we could put one on there, or one of those. That's quite cool, isn't it? Or I've pulled out my little bag of these as well. There's a few more of those there. How about let's use these. Alright, as you can see, I've pulled out a few different washi tapes which are of similar colour. Let's have a look. I think it's got quite a nice bit of silver on it. I'm going to pop this one down both sides, and then we'll see what else, if anything, we need. Sorry, my head is knocking the camera stand today for some reason. Oh, that's not good. So what's happening here is I can see the book page through there. So before I put that on, I'm actually just going to grab a little bit of white paint and a paintbrush. Just cover some of those brighter colours. This is the only drawback of using a book like this, and to be honest, I only just gave the pages one coat of gesso because I wasn't sure what I was actually going to be doing with them. So yeah, I guess that's a lesson for the learning. I can see a little bit there. I'm not so bothered about that one. Alright, that's going to have to dry before I put the washi tape on. So what else do we want to do this side? I'm wondering about a little bit of this as well. Well, this is a great thing with washi tape. You know, you can just layer it up. Use it to create patterns and interest. And actually that's quite nice because the little sort of flower shapes on that thin strip pick up the flower shapes we've got on our page. I will trim those off in a minute. Okay, whilst I'm waiting for that to dry, let's think about a little quote. Have a look and see what I've got. Given the fun I've had today with different things not quite going to plan, I found this one. Out of limitations comes creativity. Now, I've got a little bit of plastic here. What I want to do, my washi tape's unrolled, is, I'll put that where you can see it. What I want to do is to have a little bit of washi tape for each of these pieces. Just as a bit of a background for the quote. I'm going to just tear the ends and whilst I was looking for that quote, this piece of washi tape just unrolled itself off the page, so it's obviously not sticky enough to stay on the acrylic paint. So I am going to put a bit of glue. I have glued that one back down and I'm going to put a bit of glue on this. Now I am just very carefully, there we go, just going along the edge of that. Go on the back, and we're going to go across here. And when I look at this page in the future, it's just going to remind me that, you know what, when you're creating, not everything quite goes to plan. And if you're anything like me, you'll plan something and then completely forget, or do something different, or, you know, things evolve. But often, and we can see that as a limitation, but often out of that actually comes something maybe more creative, different, better than you'd originally thought of. And I think, you know, for me, that's one of the wonderful things about this type of art is that, you know, it's not necessarily right or wrong. It is about creativity, and creativity is about you being able to express yourself. It's not necessarily about being perfect or being right or doing things in a certain way. And often, you know, I think particularly when I'm not videoing, I'll get into this marvellous sort of state of flow when I'm creating. And that doesn't mean to say it's always going right, but I get this focus, and, you know, I can be, hours can suddenly go past, which gets me into trouble sometimes. Can't find the end of this. There we go. I don't know. Do you find the same? Let me know. Gosh, my head keeps hitting my camera today. I'm so sorry. I'm standing up. I keep catching it. Oh, there we are. Oh, that's gone a bit skew at the bottom. Now I'm just going to let that glue sit for a moment before I trim those ends off. Where's our journal cards? There's one. I've lost the other one. Okay. Everybody, there's our finished page for today. That was the prompt of pocket or tuck spot, and this is our final prompt in the Find the Fun in Feb challenge. So once again, I want to say a massive thank you to both Candy and to Hazel. Their channels are linked below. They've been kind enough to put these prompts together for us and put the challenge out there. It's been a great fun month. I have been pushed to time, but it's amazing what you can do when you want to. All right, as I say, I have got these 2 pages left in my journal because I combined a couple of the prompts last week when I really was short of time. So over the next couple of weeks, I will make time to come back and finish those. I might do something completely random. I might reinterpret a couple of the prompts from this challenge. But for now, this has been Find the Fun in Feb. You're in Gem's creative space, and I want to say thank you very much. Stay safe, happy crafting, ka kite anō.